this hour. Policing does not come overnight, says Adams. JPS warns of cash payment scam. NWC added over 9,000 new connections in 2021. Tourist arrivals expected to hit record high in Dominican Republic. New UK Prime Minister to be announced on September 5. Andre de Grassi reveals a major setback for World Championships following COVID-19 recovery. News in details right after this. Now the news in details. Former crime fighter Renita Adams is speaking on Real Talk, a segment on the Hello Jamaica show, in his response to the increase in crime and violence in Jamaica. Kaydan Crooks tells us more.
Adams stated that the Independent Commission of Investigation, INDECOM, would not have been a deterrent to him performing his task, as he would be acting in accordance with the law and the Jamaican Constitution.
I've said it outside of this medium that if I were there today, INDECOM would not have been a deterrent to me at all.
How so?
Because I would have been acting within the whole ambit of the law. So to explain that, what I mean, on my operation, if INDECOM came, they could have only seen my action that my men and I perform within the Constitution and within the law. So they could not affect any arrest. In other words, you do your policing to the letter of the law. Because even to kill a man, I want to put it in self-defense. Nobody can arrest you for that. If you go beyond the law, using the law for your own personal aggrandizement or for your own, right, you can be arrested.
He explained that during his time, he also had oversight bodies, and they were as vocal and proactive as INDECOM presently.
We had oversight bodies in my time.
I recall, but were they as
Many.
stringent as
They would,
what we have now?
They have a record there. If you research, you can find a lot of men were sent to prison and arrested and sent to prison and dismissed from the force. When we had our own internal thing, the only difference in those days, you may have had 1, 2, 3 radio stations that were not interested in these things. And the force was not as transparent as it is now. So those days, if a man were even dismissed because of indiscipline from the force itself would have hidden it from the public. Because it would be a reproach to the force.
When asked if he was the Commissioner of Police presently, what would he have done differently to stem the increase in crime and violence? Adams explained that policing does not come overnight and practical experience is significant to fight crime and violence.
Policing does not come overnight. So a man who is graduated today cannot be a very effective policeman as a man who had graduated 20 years ago. Policing can be taught in a university as it relates to the sciences, like ballistics, forensics,
fingerprinting, cybercrime, etc.
Cybercrime, DNA. But accompanying that, even if you are trained in that area and have those resources, if you are not practically attuned, you will have problem. And especially, the greatest weapon I have met upon in the force is that you must have a very, very good relationship with the public on every strata.
Former crime fighter Renita Adams. From the Suncity News Center, I'm Kaydan Crooks.
The Jamaica Public Service Company, JPS, is warning the public about a message on WhatsApp and social media platforms promising participants $30,000 if they click on a link. A statement from the utility company says this is a scam. The JPS says it has not sent any message via WhatsApp or social media promising money for clicking through links. The National Water Commission, NWC, added just over 9,000 new connections to its network in 2021. Jada Francis has this report.
The Economic and Social Survey Jamaica 2021 ESSJ reported that the number of connections increased from 518,199 to 527,270, mainly due to an expansion in Jamaica's housing and commercial building stock. The report revealed that the increase in connections resulted from a higher number of connections in Kingston, St. Andrew, and St. Thomas, as well as other parishes. The utilities revenue also increased by 11.1% to $38.1 billion due to growth in the number of connections and an increase in the water and sewage rates charged to customers. This growth reflected increases of 11.7% to $15.4 billion in revenues for Kingston, St. Andrew, and St. Thomas, and 10.7% to $22.7 billion in revenues for other parishes. The ESSJ also reported that NWC increased its water production by 1% and consumption by Jamaicans to almost equal amount, 0.9%, with Kingston and St. Andrew accounting for the largest share of consumption. A section of the report read, this growth in water consumption was attributed to higher demand linked to the relaxation of measures implemented to restrict the spread of COVID-19 and an increase in the level of rainfall compared with 2020. Higher usage of water was recorded in two service classes, residential and government, while schools, commercial facilities, condominiums, and employees recorded lower consumption. Similar to 2020, of the total water produced, approximately 75.1% was classified as non-revenue water, water that has been produced and is lost before it reaches the customer. Non-revenue water as a percentage of total production was highest in Trelawney with 88.6%, followed by St. Elizabeth with 87% and St. Thomas with 85.7%. From the Sun City News Center, I'm Jada Francis.
Meanwhile, starting today, persons who applied for criminal records must now collect the documents at the Police Officers Club on Hope Road in St. Andrew. Jada Francis tells us more.
Collections will be allowed between 9 a.m. and 2 p.m. No collections will be done at the downtown Kingston office. The Jamaica Constabulary Force JCF says the change forms part of its transformation thrust. The JCF noted that the changes will begin at the Kingston office for the first phase and will be rolled out to the other locations over time. As part of the move, manual appointments for criminal records have been discontinued and the process of setting a date has moved online. Other appointment system works is after paying the requisite fee at the Tax Administration TAJ office. Persons must now visit the JCF website at www.jcf.gov.jm to set an appointment. The online process requires a digital photograph, pictures of the TAJ receipt, and pictures of a valid government-issued ID. After completing the online application process, persons will receive an email with instructions on the next step to take. Persons will be required to print the application form in color and take it along with the photograph that was uploaded to the website on the day of their appointment. The JCF is advising that persons who made a manual application and were given a date after July 25 must reapply online to schedule their appointment and receive a new date and time. Appointment dates prior to the 25th will be honored. From the Sun City News Center, I'm Jada Francis.
Before we wrap up our local newscast, we have Street Beat. Street Beat is a new feature that allows the people of Portmore to voice their views while keeping the Sun City team on the pulse of news. The Sun City News team went into the communities of Portmore to let the residents voice their views on the monkeypox virus. And here's what the residents of Portmore had to say.
The new virus That's something to contend with, because just when we think we get rid of COVID, then here comes another one. And when this out and when it fade away, then I go come another one and another one and another one. So we just have to protect ourselves and just eat right, blend up with bush, them get back to we herbal things them, and make sure so we body up for these diseases. Because the Bible already tell about it. That's why I have over 200 herbs and spices for the healing of the nation. So we have to just go back to the healing of the nation.
Monkeypox coming to Jamaica. It does not have to be a pandemic as the COVID was, because you know who have the monkeypox coming in now. So why not contain it from there? You don't have to allow, like them said about man escape from hospital. What kind of nonsense that? He's supposed to be properly quarantined and contained. It's not. It's a given. It's for the safety of the whole entire country. So them have to just know what they do.
My views on the monkeypox is that, well, for precautions, yes, I would take precautions. I very rarely go anywhere because I work from home anyways. And if I do go anywhere, I'm driving my car. But my views is, where the monkeypox is concerned, I would hope it don't become another coronavirus. And they try to get it under control as best as they possibly can. That's basically my view at this time.
Well, my view on the whole monkeypox coming to Jamaica is that I believe that they should have quarantined this individual from the initial get-go, because it was the same way from England we got the COVID. So they should have taken more precaution in securing this one individual, because it's going to spread.
Monkeypox. It was expected, because just like COVID, from persons with England has it, it's going to be here. America or England sneeze, we catch cold, so it's no surprise. It's just how we are going to deal with it that is going to make the difference. But to be honest, we can't take another outbreak and nothing here now. I feel like I'm on the verge of nervous breakdown. Can't take no more lockdown or no more outbreak of any sort. So it's how we are going to deal with it. And since we have one case, I'm expecting to hear a lot more.
Monkeypox. Remember, from ever since you have diseases on the land. So it coming here, it is no different from any other time. So it's just for us to be prepared and take care of ourselves. And most of all, our children who are interacting, they are the most vulnerable ones. So those are the ones we have to protect, because they are the ones generally taking anything to the adults. So we as citizens have to do our part. All right?
How do I feel about monkeypox? Well, as for me, as I said, to me, I think it's man-made. Right? It's a man-made disease. And it's kind of scary, because after COVID-19, to see that we're now faced with something different, it's kind of scary, especially for the children who are going to school, like how I'm a parent of a 12-year-old who just passed his PEP. And I'm so excited for him to raise his new school, so which is Campion College, of course. So for me now, that is kind of scary, right?
I feel very bad about the monkeypox, what coming to Jamaica. I can't take it. I'm just fretting. Yeah, I'm just fretting. I don't know what to do. But there was corona, and then now it come monkeypox. Then so come out with an injection for monkeypox. We don't know what to do.
Wow. Now the monkeypox. I think that it is something to be really concerned about. We have just come out of the COVID. Well, we're not out of the COVID as yet, yeah? But to have this come on our shows now, it's going to be difficult for us. Because, we are people who like to party, who like to go out. And we are looking forward to going out this summer. So having this here now, it will be a setback for us.
You're listening to the evening news here on Suncity 104.9 FM. Continuing the stories with news in the region. Tourist arrivals in the Dominican Republic are expected to exceed 7 million, which will mark the highest arrival in the history of that country's tourism. Officials say that Dominican Republic has had a full recovery and earlier this month reached more than 644,000 tourist arrivals in June, a record for that month. Data released by the Ministry of Tourism indicated that the country has managed to attract more than 3.5 million tourists in the first half of 2022. Officials say the all-inclusive model has been an important factor in the recovery of the sector after the pandemic in the Dominican Republic. In other regional news, 4 men were arrested in the Cayman Islands last week after a significant amount of ganja was seized. The ganja was imported on Wednesday. CBC K9 sniffer dogs found a pallet of goods which officers inspected. They found several large packages of ganja on the pallet, with each package containing smaller packets. All 4 men are currently on bail while investigations continue. In international news, the next Conservative leader and UK Prime Minister will be announced on September 5. In a bid to rapidly eliminate French candidates, party officials have decided to make it harder to enter into and progress in the contest. Tory MPs will whittle the field down to 2 final candidates before the end of the week. About 160,000 party members will then pick the winner in a postal ballot. 11 candidates have come forward so far in the race to replace Boris Johnson, who resigned last week after a revolt among his MPs and ministers. Other candidates could still enter the race, with Home Secretary Priti Patel believed to be weighing whether to run. In other international news, huge crowds lined the streets of Tokyo on a Tuesday to pay their last respects to former Prime Minister of Japan Shinzo Abe, who was assassinated last week. The 67-year-old was shot on Friday while speaking at a campaign event in the southern city of Nara. A hearse carried Mr. Abe's body through the capital and past landmarks to the funeral hall where he was then cremated. A private funeral was held earlier. Across Tokyo, flags flew at half-mast, and outside the temple, a long line of mourners stretched over 2 blocks, many carrying bouquets. Mr. Abe was Japan's longest-serving post-war prime minister and one of its most influential politicians. You're still listening to the evening news here on Suncity 104.9 FM. We'll have sports right after this. News in sports. 2019 World Championship bronze medalist Andre de Grassi has revealed that he is facing major setbacks ahead of the 2022 hosting of the World Athletics Championships in Eugene, Oregon, scheduled to begin this Friday, July 15. Jada Francis tells us more.
After a recent COVID-19 bout, Olympic 200-meter champion Andre de Grasse of Canada may be unable to compete in that event at the World Championships. According to de Grasse, he hopes to compete in both the 100 meters and the 200 meters at the World Championships in Eugene, Oregon, but the 200 meter, which comes after 3 rounds of the 100 meter, is a game-time decision as he regains strength, as quoted by the Canadian press. According to this report, de Grasse, who has 7 medals in 7 career individual races between the Olympics and the World Championships, dealt with COVID-19 for the second time a month before the World Championships, spent 3 days in bed, and felt out of breath after ascending 1 flight of stairs. The Canadian press reported that he said he was pretty down and out, and during the first week of training he expressed that he did not feel great. De Grasse said his lungs were hard to breathe and that it takes a lot to get back. His symptoms included coughing and fatigue. De Grasse, who also had a reported foot injury earlier in the season, is currently ranked 50th in the world in the 100 meters and 74th fourth in the 200 meters by best times this year. At the Tokyo Olympics, the grass won the 200 meters in a Canadian record of 19.62 seconds, which would rank third this year, behind Americans Ariana Knighton 19.49 seconds and Noah Lyles 19.61 seconds. From the Sun City News Center, I'm Jada Francis.
In foreign exchange trading news for Tuesday, July 12, 2022, the day's foreign exchange trading ended with $1 retailing for $152. The Canadian closed the trading day at $115.63, while the pound sterling retails at $181.54. That's it for the news update here on Suncity 104.9 FM. Join us again at 7 a.m. for more news on this station. Please remember to follow us on all our socials. For Instagram and Twitter, look for us at Suncity 104.9 FM and Facebook at Suncity Radio 104.9 FM. Stay tuned for the Heatwave show here on Suncity Radio.